Bonjour, good morning, Bande Matram, welcome all of you. So today in this session of Savitri summarization, we are going to discuss a great topic that is on a camp of God is pitched in human time. So during this process, we are going to discuss the story of the soul, finding of the soul, that is from Book 7, Canto 5, the finding of the soul. We are here to discuss on a camp of God is pitched in human time. So that is a great enthusiasm in us really to know the story of the soul, how to find the soul, how really Savitri is finding the soul. So this is the story of Savitri, the great divine mother. So here that step by step process, we must know something, not something of course maybe in brief in the process of our summarization, but actually we must have a brief idea on the story of the soul. Almost it is the known as the finding of the soul, book 7, Canto 5. So this is the we can find here Sri Aurobindo quotes in the very first line we are finding here. Onward she passed seeking the soul's mystic cave, the purpose. She passed onward seeking the soul's mystic cave. That was the purpose, seeking the soul's mystic cave. At first, she stepped into the night of God. That is what the very initial stage we find. At first, she stepped into a night of God. The light, the light was quenched that helps the laboring world. So when there is a discussion that stepped into a night of God, so definitely what about the light? That next question answer. The light was quenched, not it is totally not there, not the scenario like this. It was there, but quenched that helps the laboring world. That light which normally helps the laboring world, that was quenched. The power that struggles and stumbles in our life, so the striving heart its unveiling hopes again. All knowledge failed and the ideas form and wisdom screened in away her lonely head. Feeling a truth too great for thought or speech. That is what no place for wisdom, thought or something mind. See the quote, all knowledge failed, and the ideas form and knowledge, ideas, forms, and wisdom screened in away her lonely head, feeling a truth too great for thought or speech. What is going to happen, the event that is going to shape in the near future, that is some totally different view. It has got totally different view, totally different shape, because everything is related to soul, formless, ineffable, forever the same. So we can find later her mind knelt down before the unknowable. Here begins the story. Her mind knelt down before the unknowable. All was abolished save her naked self. All was abolished save her naked self and the prostrate yearning of her surrendered heart. Sastanga Pranam and all we have heard in the Sanskrit, in the tapasya it is coming sadhana, and the prostrate yearning of her surrendered heart. There was no strength in her. There was no strength in her, no pride of the force. The lofty burning of desire had sunk, ashamed, a vanity of separate soul. Everything is united, no ego, no separation, no gulf, no barrier. The hope of spiritual greatness fled. The hope of spiritual greatness, that another ego, that had also fled. Salvation she asked not, nor a heavenly crown. Humility seemed now a too proud a state. Humility. Then herself was nothing, God alone was all. That is the scenario, that is the shape, and of course that is the truth we find. Yet God she knew not, but only knew He was. Then again we can little bit go forward. Sri Aurobindo quotes, as might a shadow walk in a shadowy sin, a small knot passing through a mightier knot. Then, and in endless time, her soul reached a wide end. See, now itself our soul, the spark soul, it is there, and in the process of development, it is coming as the psychic being. So it is unknown, unveiled. Sometimes we unfelt also we can feel. It is hidden, concealed behind the veil. So many ways actually it is there because it is not coming forward. But in here, right now, in the case of Savitri, it is totally different. And in endless time, her soul reached a wide end. The spaceless vast became her spirit's place. At last, a change approached, the emptiness broke. A wave rippled within, the world had tired. Once more, her inner self became her space. Once more, her inner self became her space. Only thing I will tell, so many beautiful things are there. Almost it will be a new, almost you will be finding everything, almost the a new description as if you will find, because this is all this from Savitri. In great ways we can find and see the description, great description from the Lord. In with great parameters, great description have been described here, we can find in these cantos. There was felt a blissful nearness to the goal. There was felt a blissful nearness to the goal. Heaven leaned low to kiss the sacred hill. So again, the air trembled with the passion and delight. Air trembled with the passion and delight. A rose of splendor and a tree of dreams. The face of dawn out of moon twilight grew. Just towards luminosity, it is growing, everything is going. Day came, priest of a sacrifice of joy into the worshipping silence of our world. Then later we can find, she recognized in her prophetic mind, another mind, that is prophetic mind, the imperishable luster of that sky. Then a marble brooding twilight made the eyes, and a holy stillness held that voiceless space. Later we can cover, two golden serpents round the lintel curled. Two golden serpents round the lintel curled, enveloping it with their pure and dreadful strength. So let us summarize whatever up to this point. Let us summarize, then we'll go for the further discussion. That is actually a summarization, Savitri summarization, the finding of the soul, book 7, canto 5. Savitri passes onward. She first finds herself in a night of God. First finds herself in a night of God. All her light and power fell. All her light and power fell. The mind, the heart gave up their thoughts and hopes. Mind and heart gave up their thoughts and hopes. While knowledge functioning no more, everything is vacant, everything is standstill. Only her naked self and her yearning remain. Naked self and yearning remain. God alone is, all else is darkness. So just imagine how the scenario will be. God alone is all, all else is darkness. She moves silently and approaches a wide end. Already we have seen souls approach to a wide end. The emptiness breaks, a wave ripples within. Emptiness breaks, approaches the wide end. Wave ripples within, and there is a blissful stir. Then what about the day? Dawn breaks out, followed by day. Dawn breaks out, followed by the day, and in that brilliance, Savitri recognizes the mystic cavern which is dwelling in her secret soul. So this is the right point. We can mark the point. We can note down it. So in that mystic, Savitri recognizes the mystic cavern which is the dwelling of her secret soul. The great rock doors of the cave appears in an awful dimness. Then, just I quoted the first line. Two golden serpents are coiled around the lintel. Two golden serpents are coiled around the lintel. Above hovers up an eagle. As Savitri enters, what happens? She finds the great figures of gods carved in stone. Inside, she is surging inside, entering. Finds great figures of gods carved in stone. The walls are covered with significant shapes of portraying the life scene of man and the beast. The beautiful decoration we can find. The role of the gods, the scheme of the planes and the worlds, scheme of the planes and the worlds and the gods movement abroad. Then Savitri passes on. From room to room, she feels herself one with all that she sees. Feels herself one with all that she sees, and a sealed identity within her awakes. Sealed identity within her awakes. She realizes that she herself is the beloved of the Supreme. So let us go a little bit into the further description, then we will come to the summarization. Sri Aurobindo quotes already we have seen. Later we can find the great description from the Sri Aurobindo's right. We find here a light. All that this she saw and inly felt and knew, not by thought of mind, but by the self. Everything, nothing relates to mind or thought. Everything relates to the self. A light not born of sun or moon or fire. A light not born of sun or moon or fire. A light that dwelt within and saw within, shedding an intimate visibility, made secrecy more revealing than the word. Word cannot speak more revealing because it in the secrecy of the self. She felt herself made one with all she saw. She felt herself made one with all she saw. A sealed identity within her yoke. Then what is her feeling? How she feels herself? She knew herself the beloved of the Supreme. These gods and goddesses were he and she. The mother was she of beauty and delight. We have seen, we know, mother, there are billions. Millions, billions we have seen. But the mother, when it is quoted, it is only the divine mother and your mother, Srima. So the mother, here it is written the mother again. The mother not from the book like the mother. Here in Savitri also the mother was she of beauty and delight. The word in Brahma's vast creating clasp. The word where in Brahma's vast creating clasp. The world positions on Almighty Shiva's lap. Almighty Shiva again in all lap. The master and the mother. Again we can find the description of the mother. The master and the mother of all lives, watching the worlds their twin regard had made. Then we can find what about the twin regard. And Krishna and Radha forever entwined in bliss. Krishna and Radha, akarsayati iti Krishna, aradhayati iti Radha. So Krishna and Radha forever entwined in bliss, the adorer and adored, self-lost and one. Then again, in the last chamber on a golden seat one sat whose shape no vision could define. In the last chamber on a golden seat one sat whose shape no vision could define. Only one felt the world's unattainable fount, a power of which she was the staying force. That was a great one standing there. An invisible beauty, goal of the world's desire, a son of which all knowledge is a beam. A greatness without whom no life could be. So we can find she came out, where they are shown a deathless sun. A house was there, all made of flame and light. There then comes the description of the meeting. And crossing a wall of doorless living fire, there suddenly she met her secret soul. Soul again, it was a secret, but actually there is a meeting. She meets again, suddenly she met her secret soul. So we can go a little bit in a very peasant way. So that for that we can have a summarization, we can see it. In the last chamber on a golden seat, she beholds one who is indescribable, but who is obviously the fount of all, but can't be described. Again, all departs into silent self, all becomes formless, pure, and bare. All departs into the silent self, all becomes formless, pure, and bare. She pushes on through a tunnel on the last rock and emerges into the bright light of a deathless sun. Emerges in a tunnel in the last rock, and she pushes through a tunnel in the last rock and emerges into the bright light of deathless sun. They are in a house of flame and light. House of flame and light. Savitri suddenly met her secret soul, just as we saw. A being stands there, the eternal and the infinity. A being stood there who is eternal, the eternal and the infinity, turned towards the time and the infinity. He is really the being, eternal and infinity, but turning towards time and finity. She is God's delegate in humanity, come to play ball with the time and circumstance. That is what. She is God's delegate in humanity, comes to play ball with time and circumstance. She has put forth a small portion of herself into the region of the heart to labor, to suffer, to grow towards its own Godhead. So let us go a little forward. We'll see and we'll discuss and have the summarization portion here. We'll see. So, here in the course here, a being stood immortal in transience, deathless, dallying with the momentary things. A being deathless, dallying with the momentary things, in whose wide eyes of tranquil happiness, which pity and sorrow could not abrogate. Infinity turned its gaze on finite shapes. Just now we saw. So again, that great description is there. In the mystery of its secret selecting will, in the divine comedy, a participant, the spirit's conscious representative, God's delegate in our humanity, comrade of the universe, the transcendent ray. She had come into the mortal body's room to play at ball with time and circumstance. Just now we saw. Then a being, about the description of the soul, we know Angushtha Matram, we know, so that's what the description is there. A being no bigger than the thumb of man into a hidden region of the heart to face the pang and to forget the bliss. A being no bigger than the thumb of man into a hidden region of the heart to face the pang and to forget the bliss, to share the suffering and endure art's wounds. So this is the scenario. Last we can go little bit forward. We who must feel the role of the universe about us, bearing the soul. So here in the quotes here, we who must feel the role of the universe and acting itself out in a slight human shape. Human shape, we must play the role of the universe, feel the role of the universe, and on our shoulders carry the struggling Lord world. That is what the vision, the mission with we have come. We must carry the on our shoulders the struggling world. So later we can find there is a meeting. We can find meeting and transformation. That part we are coming forward. Here in the last chamber of flame and light they met. Here in the chamber, in this chamber of flame and light, they met. They looked upon each other and knew themselves, looked upon each other and knew themselves, the secret deity and its human part, the calm immortal and the struggling soul. Then, with a magic transformation speed, they rushed into each other and grew one. The secret deity and its human part, the calm immortal and the struggling soul, both are totally contrary, opposite. Then, with a magic transformation speed, they rushed into each other and grew one. Then, after this finding and all, we can have the scenario description, great description. Once more, she was a human upon earthly soil. Then we can go a little bit forward. We can find the a living image of the original power, a face, a form come down into her heart, and made of it its temple and pure abode. Then we can go in the flower of the head, in the flower of matter's base, in each divine stronghold and nature knot, it held together the mystic stream which joins. Then we are going a silent flame-eyed mass of living force, all underwent a high celestial change. So we can have a good description, have the summarization. We go. But of these, the secret deity and its human part met here in the chamber of light and flame, look upon each other, know themselves, rush into each other, and grow one. The soul of Savitri joins the oversoul. So here, visibly and of course unconsciously, the soul of Savitri joins the oversoul. Once again, Savitri finds herself a human soul. She finds that the half-opened lotus bud of her heart has bloomed, revealing her secret soul. It was concealed, see, soul was concealed, now itself revealed. So half-opened lotus bud of her heart has bloomed, which was in us. It is totally, I don't know whether it is in a bud state or something. It is to, but there it was half opened. Now it blooms. Then what happens? Her being calls the mighty mother of the worlds to come down, and to, in a flash of face, a form comes down into her heart. After this blooming, she calls the mighty mother of the worlds to come down, and in a flash of face, a form comes down to her heart. The moment of its feet touch the quivering bloom of her heart lotus. About the we know the mighty mother, the very moment when its feet touch the quivering bloom of her heart lotus, a mighty movement rocks the inner space. Mighty movement rocks the inner space, and a flaming serpent rises, released from sleep. With the touch of the mother, mighty mother, the flaming serpent rises, released from sleep in the night of the inconscient. In the night of the inconscient, it was slept. With the touch, it is actually getting released. It storms its way upwards, striking all the lotuses, getting from this Kundalini. So it is storms its way upwards and striking all that lotuses and entire chakras, centers of consciousness. This all lotuses, all our chakras, on its root and setting them vibrating in the light and bliss till it reaches the eternal space of the crown of the head, from the bottom till the up till top, getting released, touching all the chakras and moving, and finally reaches the crown of the head. Then the mighty mother, the image of the original power, is seated there, armed, her arm lifted in a severe gesture, a sacred beast prone below her feet. So let us have a few line description here. Life now obeyed a diviner rule, and every act became an act of God. That the chakras and all we have seen, each shape showed its occult design, unveiled God's meaning in it for which it was made. A channel of the mighty mother's choice, the immortals took into the calm control. Then we can find love chanting its pure hymeneal hymn. Love chanting its pure hymeneal hymn made life and body mirrors of the sacred joy, and all the emotions gave themselves to God. All the emotions gave themselves to God. Then we can find the great description. See in the quotes here. A secret soul behind supporting all. Secret soul behind supporting all is master and witness of our ignorant life. Then we can find a light comes down into the ignorance. It's heavy, painful, not loosens the grasp. Then she streams us into us with her unbound force into the mortal limbs, the immortal's rapture and power. Then each thought, our words become the natural speech of truth. The change, real change takes place. What is the real change? Our words become the natural speech of truth. Each thought is a ripple on a sea of light. Then what is the change? Sin and virtue leave the cosmic list. Sin and virtue leave the cosmic list. They struggle no more in our delivered hearts. Our acts chime with God's simple natural good or serve the rule of a supernal right. All moods unlovely, evil and untrue. So there comes a forsake their sextations in fierce disarray and hide their shame in the subconscious dusk. Then lifts the mind a cry of victory. So we can finally, towards the end, we must know, we must hear, we must realize, and of course we must be avoided by the cry of victory. What is the victory? What is the cry? How the sound, how it sounds, how the voice really comes out. O soul, my soul, we have created heaven. O soul, my soul, we have created heaven. Within we have found the kingdom here of God. Victory. Within we have found the kingdom here of God, His fortress built in a loud, ignorant world. Then our life is entrenched between two rivers of light. Our life is entrenched between two rivers of light. We have turned space into a gulf of peace and made the body a capital of bliss. Made the body a capital of bliss. What more? What more? If more must still be done. That is the victorious voice. In the slow process of the evolving spirit, just there then comes the beautiful description we have seen. In the slow process of the evolving spirit, in the brief state between a death and birth, in the brief state between the death and birth, a fast perfection stage is reached at last. Just imagine two conditions are there. A fast perfection stage is reached at last condition. In the slow process of the evolving spirit, naturally the process of evolution is slow because we are unaware, unaccustomed, and unprepared. In the brief state between death and birth, a fast perfection stage is reached at last. Then, out of the very interesting, out of the wood and stone of our nature stuff, out of the wood and stone of our nature stuff, a temple is shaped where high gods could live. Out of the wood and stone of our nature stuff, a temple is shaped where the high gods could live. Even if the struggling world is left outside, one man's perfection still can save the world. Even if the struggling world is left outside, forget about that. One man's perfection still can save the world. There is one a new proximity to the skies. There is one a new proximity to the skies, a fast betrothal of the earth to heaven. Fast betrothal, fast in a couple of lines, twice it has been used. A fast perfection's stage is reached at last. Here also a fast betrothal of the earth to heaven. A deep concordat between truth and life. Deep concordat between truth and life. A camp of God is pitched in the human time. A camp of God is pitched in the human time. Just see how the glorious description we can find. It has been glorified by the master here. So the concluding lines we must see in one or two lines finally. All in the being of Savitri undergoes a celestial change. The working in each of the centers, the working in each of the centers, the lotus kingdoms is transformed. That awakening of the Kundalini, that actually it is we can find that is once again we can find the mighty. It touches the quivering bloom of our heart lotus. A mighty movement rocks the inner space, and the flaming serpent rises, released from sleep in the night of the inconscient, that Jagrati, Kundalini Jagrati. Then it rises up, touches all the centers, and everything gets transformed. So Lotus Kingdoms is transformed. Behind all stands her deathless soul. Behind all stands her deathless soul, casting aside its veil of ignorance. Casting everything is soul is behind all. Stands her deathless soul, stands her deathless soul, casting aside the veil of the ignorance and surrendered in the hands of the world mother. That is a great surrender. So this is the great description we have seen. That great description, really it is fabulous. We can't imagine how miraculous description it is there. But the thing is that if you can be able to know, to read them again and again, you will know the secret. Almost maybe in the first attempt, it will be for you unimaginable, unacceptable, or something. You will be finding something difficult. But thing is that great descriptions are there. You can find like. And the great description of the description chakras, different chakras we find. Sri Aurobindo quotes, the mother was the sea of beauty and delight, the word in Brahma's vast creating class, the world puissance and Almighty Shiva's lamp, the master and the mother of all lives, the Krishna and Radha forever entwined in bliss. These are the great lines we can find there. Of course, these are the two golden serpents round the lintel curl. And towards the from the beginning we have seen that all was abolished save her naked self and the prostrate yearning of her surrendered heart. And towards the end we can find here, in the slow process of the evolving spirit, in the brief state between A death and birth, a past perfection stage is reached at last. Out of the wood and stone of our nature step, a temple is shaped where high gods could live. Even if the struggling world is left outside, one man's perfection still can save the world. So a deep of concordat between truth and life, a camp of God is pitched in human time. So hope you will enjoy and you will grow in the process of sadhana. Bande Matram.